our meteorologist Brandon, meteorologist Luke Doris. They've been keeping us updated, letting us know that the eye will be arriving very, very soon. So we are going to do our best to stay out here until it is just not safe anymore to be out here. Take a look at this. Look at this gust right now, you guys. This is quite a gust we are experiencing. Keeping an eye, though, because if you see me sort of looking up, we do have a lot of palm trees around with coconuts, and we have to make sure those coconuts do not fall off. So I'm looking at my surroundings as I am talking to you. All right. I'm going to come back under the cover. My photographer is telling me that it's just getting a bit dangerous out here. The reason why I was out here in the first place was because we were trying to get a connection on our satellite phone. But it looks like it's getting a bit dangerous, and we're sort of worried at this point of something sort of flying through because we are seeing lots of debris. So I'm going to come back undercover right now as he continues to show you the conditions of Hurricane Dorian. And this is really sort of the beginning. We've been out here since 6 a.m. and at first it really just seemed like a tropical storm, to be honest. At 6 a.m. we felt a great breeze and it felt very nice out here. And they kept telling us that every hour things were going to change. And as you can see, things have continued to drastically change throughout the day. So each hour the winds just keep picking on up. And that's sort of what's made this storm such a tricky storm, because it is a slow mover that is expected to just stay right on us for quite some time. And yes, Marsh Harbor expected to get the eye of the storm. And when that happens, we unfortunately are going to have to go off air because it will just not be safe for us to be outside. And that's going to happen quite soon. Once my meteorologist tells me to get inside, I'm getting inside. So I know Brandon and Luke, you're listening right now. If you see that things are getting a little tricky, just send us a text, let us. We actually don't have access to the radar right now. We are communicating back at the station through iMessage because the Wi-Fi at the hotel is still working at this point, but cell service is not. We are not able to make any calls back at the station, not back home, and I'm only able to communicate with everyone through iMessage, and that is all due to the Wi-Fi. We're hoping that Wi-Fi sticks around, but not feeling too confident because we do know these storms many times do end up, obviously, we lose power, and that includes Wi-Fi in many situations. Looking right now, as you're looking with us, that is there, and one of the tiki huts, an area for people to relax, and you can see that it is completely underwater at this point. In some cases, the trees are also almost underwater. This is just an example of the storm surge, and this is really just the beginning. Officials have said that the storm surge could reach up. Let's hold on for a minute here. Hold on. All right, we had to let that gust pass through because trust me when I say that we are working to keep standing as we talk to you. So talking about that storm surge, where officials said they believed it would reach up to 15 feet. And looking at what I'm seeing right now, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. And of course, this is just one part of the island. We have not been able to see any other part of the island. We're watching the storm and seeing the storm unfold from our resort, which is a very safe resort. We want to let you all know that it would take just 2 seconds for myself and my photographer to run the bunker, where there are pillows, there's plenty of food, plenty of supplies. If things get tricky, we are able to run in there in a matter of seconds. We are doing everything we can to stay safe. That is our #1 priority. We do have a good covering right now, so we feel very safe about that. The structures are good. We're not feeling any sort of shakes, which we know sometimes happens in these storms, but of course we are waiting for the to really arrive, and that is when things can really change for us here. So continuing here from our resort, the wind is just pounding. Many of I'm going to move for a real minute here, my photographer, to really show you everything. And actually, if you see that building there on the left, those are our rooms there, and you could see that they did cover up the balconies, and the windows here all have shutters. So they've done a great job at this hotel in making sure that everything is secure. They obviously removed all the outdoor furniture as well. These structures are sturdy. But of course, we know that we have to be careful no matter what. He's going to switch directions here. I want you to really see what's going on. Actually, Brian, if you could go ahead and show debris that's made it to this little patio area that we're at. Most is we obviously have plants as well that I can tell you moving some the other day. We were moving some stuff. The fact that they are now how powerful us have been.
Janice Fernandez doing an incredible job for us here at Dale Marsh Harbor. As you can see, that we keep losing her signal because the situation is intensifying. She's not the only reporter at that resort covering
off a bit. It is a big tree here. We know palm trees are known for being able to bend very well in these storms, but there is this big tree here that the way it is moving makes me a little nervous, and that's I think you may have seen there. I'm not sure if you saw what you continue to see some pieces falling off from the nothing drastic though, because it is a very just sort of the top that is falling off, so we don't want you to think that the roof is caving in or anything of that sort. It's just sort of the top part that is falling off, which is typical in these storms. You can see them flying into the pool. I don't know if you saw that, Brian, but right now what you're seeing, these just really awful conditions. We are standing as far back as we can. I don't think it's quite safe for us to stand anywhere else. I was out there earlier trying to get a signal from our satellite phone to try to be able to make calls back at the station. You obviously know that you need open space to make those satellite calls, but right now it is just way too dangerous to stand outside. Hard to see, but you can see these palm trees bending in the wind, and some of the concerns that a lot of people here on the island have told us is to watch out for those palm trees, not because they may actually fall, but a lot of them have coconuts, and those coconuts can fall, they could hit your head. Obviously that's a dangerous situation that we don't want to get into. So that's why we are staying back. Go ahead and walk through. We have some people from the hotel just walking through. Don't mind if you see them. They're obviously getting all the supplies ready because they also are getting ready to hunker down once the eye passes through. So again, if you are just joining us, we apologize for any sort of delays, but we are here at Marsh Harbor watching as Hurricane Dorian makes landfall, this massive Category 5 storm just starting to pound the island. And I can only think at this point, this is just such a small portion of what we're seeing, but we have not seen the main town of Marsh Harbor, which, yes, Marsh Harbor is part of the Abaco Islands. We are surrounded by water, and if this storm surge from this small beach that is right behind our resort, if this water is already making its way on land, I can't even think about what it is looking like right in Marsh Harbor in the town, because when you're driving around town, the water is really in all directions. It's hard to avoid it. That is what makes Abaco such a beautiful island, but it also is what makes it dangerous in storms like this. So incredible to see this massive storm make its way on land. Luke and Brandon, if you can hear me, I'm sure you're listening in. Please keep giving us updates as you watch, because we don't have access to the radar. So if you do see from the radar and you believe we need to get indoors, please let us know. I know Brandon sent a text message probably about, I want to say 30 minutes ago. Time is sort of all meshing together, but he did send us a text message probably at the top telling us that the eye was less than 2 hours away. So Brandon, just please let us know if we need to run inside our bunker right now. We obviously do not want to be out here when the eye comes, but that when it comes, we will know right away that it is here, because things are going to drastically change. Luke Doris was telling me, he sent me an email saying, I feel like a tornado because the wind is just really going to change direction. So actually where we're standing, believe it or not, the building is sort of blocking the wind. Brian, my photographer, did such a great job of positioning so that we're not getting that huge impact from the wind. But once the eye moves through, it's going to be a completely different scenario because the wind will be coming in all different directions. So again, just keep sending us the text messages. My cell is still working in terms of text messages, but the cell service has dropped here on the island, so we're not able to communicate with anyone, at least via phone. The wind, again, just continuing to pick up. Really quick, while I feel like the wind not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and stand here, and just so you can see from this perspective as a person standing here what it looks like for us here. We are also covered. We do have a covering, a very strong structure, though. We want to make a point to let you know that the awning we have on top of us is a very strong structure. We haven't heard it shake. We haven't heard any sort of noises that would and make us want to seek shelter right now. But obviously you can see it is. We are protected right now, but we do know that that can push, and we can feel rain. The rain has not really been the with Dorian, I have to say, coming in different directions, but it's not a very rain. It's really the wind that we are feeling with this storm, and I think that's very evident. The rain is coming in different directions, though, and that has to do with the wind as well. Look at that. See some of the palm fronds off there.
All right, we are listening to Janice Fernandez, who is in Marsh Harbor. And again, you can understand that that cell service is cutting in and out. So when we can hear her, we're going to let you listen to her. When it starts to cut out a little bit, we're going to kind of fill the gaps right here. But we've been watching the conditions out there deteriorate throughout the morning. And as you can see, that eye wall is getting closer as we've been showing you on the satellite imagery.
Yeah, that's right. The winds gusting up to 175 miles an hour. She's showing us the outside of the resort, where the outside, the tiki huts, the outside, fixtures around the resort are starting to break apart as this storm intensifies.
We have the water taking over the sand. It looks like it may reach the grass. If that starts to happen, that's not going to be good, because it can continue to rise. Although, again, even though it's hard to tell from this perspective, we are up on a hill. Wow, look at that tiki hut, Brian. It's really getting beat up right now. And you may see from the shot a lot of pieces flying around, again, some pieces of the roof flying around. And we're also seeing a little bit of the branches flying around. It is just, this storm is pounding. And all I'm thinking about right now is that this is the beginning, because it's such a slow-moving storm that it's going to sit on top of us for hours and hours and hours, and I just don't know how much of the island can really take these conditions for hours and hours. It's one thing if a hurricane passes through quickly, but it is a completely different situation when it just sits and you're just dealing with this constant wind and this constant rain, the storm surge continuing to rise, and the wind. Take a look at that. I just have to think about the structures we saw as we were driving around. Oh, look at that. Ooh, seeing so much debris flying around. So we are doing the right thing, staying under this awning. We are definitely not going to try to go back out there, because there's just too much stuff flying around right now, and we want to make sure we stay safe. But, as we had driven around the island, it's such a beautiful place here in Marsh Harbor, but so many structures using just plywood to close off their windows and close off their businesses. And we just really hope that a lot of these structures make it through the storm. Things happen. They could make it through. But to think about this powerful wind just pounding for hours and hours, I do really worry. And knowing that many people were asked to evacuate, I certainly hope that people listened to those warnings and did evacuate in those low-lying areas, because this storm surge is very, very scary as we are looking at it right now. Again, we have lost our cell service, so we're not able to call the station, but we are trying to get our satellite phone working. But it doesn't seem like it's happening. So if the managers and producers can hear us back at the station, our satellite phone is just not connecting right now. So hopefully you can still see us live in this moment, because it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get that phone to work, because in order to get it to work, we're going to have to step out into open sky and get a connection. And it's just not safe for us to step outside open sky right now. But looks like I'm getting some text messages right now from our meteorologist. I'm going to let you know what he's telling us, so you can get an idea of what we're dealing with. It looks like we're going to get a brief relief in maybe 30 minutes. It's going to be about 70 to 90 mile per hour gust. But within the hour, we're going to be in the eye wall, and it's going to hit very quick. So he is asking us to stay there and stay safe, because because it's going to last for quite some time. So we may get a lull in about 30 minutes, and our meteorologist Brandon is telling us that it's going to be about 70 to 90 mile per hour gust within the hour, and that is when the eye wall will reach us. It's going to be quick. The backside of the storm will last for much, much longer than the front end. If you're familiar, the eye comes quick, and then what comes behind it is very scary, and it's terrifying, and that is what's going to last very long. Brian, I don't know if you can see what I can see, but this water is picking up right now. It's a little bit hard because obviously the whiteout conditions because of this storm. See the water there. And where I'm standing, I could see that it's right. Oh wow, look, quickly. I have never seen any. The wind is pushing it, and from what I can see, the water has reached the ground, so it's definitely getting closer. We are on higher ground. We're feeling that we are okay and that we are from the storm surge. Incredible waves, also incredible whiteout conditions. We were able to see the there are some couple of boats, but move their boats. Some people did down. Today you're able to, and even in the distance you can see.
Janice Fernandez doing an incredible job for us there in Marsh Harbor, Bahamas.